Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Ghost Girl podcast. I am your host, Kristen. So, right now, let's get started. All right. I don't really have that much news right now. All that I really do know right now is that I've heard. I'm not saying that it's true. But if it is, then that's awesome. But I saw on another on the Kill Your Darlings page that Ghost Girl is being optioned by the 20th Century Fox. Now, to me, the 20th Century Fox thing, that's cool. That's amazing. That's great. But I wouldn't have thought it would be on 20th Century Fox. I would have thought it would have been on Warner Brothers or Universal, one of those. But I mean, 20th Century Fox is cool too. Like they've got a lot of stuff going on. So, but that's cool. That we've got that we at least got a movie option. You know what I mean? Like it's being talked about. The screenplay's being talked about. That's what option mean, by the way. Optioned means they're talking about it. They're she's showing it to them. They're taking it into consideration. They're discussing the screenplay, who would direct it, who would be in it, all that stuff. So now, no, that's a rumor. I don't know if it's true, and if it's not, it's cool. It's fine. Whatever. But hey, like I said, no matter what Tanya Hurley does, I'm sure we will love it, and it'll be great. So that's my little tidbit of the movie thing. Now let's go into the fourth chapter of the first book. And the fourth chapter is called Why Me? In this chapter, Charlotte is taking in the fact that she's dead. She's soaking that in. She's pretty upset about it, she's not having a good day, She's just she's just pretty, she's just overwhelmed at the fact that she's dead, She's kind of overreacting about it, but I mean, who wouldn't? If you just found out you were dead, who wouldn't? And this is where you kind of get the powers that Pam has too, because she's got and what will Charlotte, learn when she's in here. And what she does is she goes back to the scene of the crime where she died, and she kind of takes it all in. She kind of just, stares at the lined out gingerbread cookie of a figure on the floor, sexless, and she's just kind of, she's making herself feel even worse about the whole thing, and she's really, she's really sad and like mourning over her own death. And this is also where she keeps saying this isn't happening, but it really is. And that's where Pam, Pam in this chapter, she's kind of cool and collected and real, just not, she doesn't expect much when she's come. She just thinks that she's here to just telling her where to go and everything. But she starts to look for what's not Pam, but Charlotte starts to look for why did this happen? Why am I here? And so Pam is showing her to all the different areas, like her locker, and then she shows her to her memorial. And here she thinks, this is it. This is where I'm going to be popular. This is where I finally get to be popular. Well, kind of. That's not too that's not good. She's kind of being mourned. She's Petula and the Windies are there, and they're crying, and she's like, oh my god, they're crying, that they actually care. They don't. They're just crying because, one, they want attention, and two, attention. That's the only two reasons. Petula says that she ate half a gummy bear for lunch yesterday, and she keeps checking her lipstick and everything in the camera, and this is where you know Charlotte starts to melt down. Pam watched her meltdown begin and said nothing, and that made me laugh a little bit, because yeah. And she says, "Why not me?" She talks about how if it was Petula that choked on a gummy bear and died, it would have made the news. All the gummy bears would have been pulled off the shelf in pulled off every shelf. There would have been a national hearing on gummy bear safety. It would be on CNN, and the gummy bears would be considered the new swine flu. And so they just and how Damon would every week would send her red roses on her grave, and church bells would ring to commemorate her passing. And so, she goes into this huge thing and talks about how Petula would be a hero, and she talks about how she's a chalk outline of that people step on and not over. She starts to she's really upset about this, beating herself up, and Pam's like, "Are you through?" And Charlotte says, "Almost," and Pam says, "Take your time." And Pam's just, chilling out for a sec. And then she hears a noise in Pam's throat, and she goes, "What the heck is that anyway?" And Pam's like, "Let me introduce myself. I am Piccolo Pam." And the reason she's called Piccolo Pam is because she choked. She got the name because during a performance, because I tripped while showboating, all allegedly, at the all-county band parade and swallowed my piccolo. That's it. And then she talks about how at least I died doing something I love. And that's where Charlotte starts to feel even worse. She starts to, really, she wanted to do something she loved, and she said for Charlotte not to take the whole death name thing personally, and she was like, "How can I not?" And then that's where she says, "Well, let me take you to orientation." And Charlotte is confused, and so Pam grabs her hand and takes her to the dead ed classroom. And this is a really short chapter. I just realized that. It's not that long. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4.5 pages long. It's not that long. And the next one's Death for Dummies. And in the 4th chapter, you kind of get a feeling of how she feels. She's really sad and she's mourning about her own death, and I know how she feels. If no one's gonna mourn for her, she may as well do it herself. And it feels really bad. And then Pam is there, and Pam thinks that this is just some regular old, nothing to worry about kind of thing. But she's little did Pam know. Pam know that she's gonna be an eternal friend to Charlotte, and I think that's something that they talk about in the 3rd book, and I think that's really cool that they still talk about that, and how she talks about how that's why they call it a love life, and we'll talk about that in I think in chapter 6. Yeah, in chapter 6 we talk about that one, and I really like this chapter because you kind of get a feel of how Charlotte feels. She's really sad, and she's practically mourning over her own death. And she's like, "Well, if no one else is, I'll do it." And when we die, it's kind of like we expect other people to mourn for them. But with her, she has to do that. And then the thing is that when she meets Scarlet, she mourns. She does the whole, Scarlet mourns for her, and she doesn't really realize it either. And you start to see a real friendship there, and I think the fact that, to me, and you'll meet Prue in chapter 5, I think. I'm not sure though. I'll have to look. But in chapter 5, you meet Prue, and I'll discuss Prue a little bit more. But to me, Prue and Scarlet would have been the best of friends if Prue was still living. Because I love Prue. Prudence is my favorite. Her and Scarlet are like my two favorites. They're badass and they don't really take shit. You know what I mean? They're just kind of like, this is my ground and I'm sticking to it. You know, they don't really care what people say, and I like that. I like their attitudes. They're really good friends, you know, and I like that. But anyway, this is a short show right now. But yeah. Anywho, that concludes the fourth edition of the podcast. I will see you guys later. So, rest in popularity, guys. Bye.